Hi, I am Scott Forcino. I am an associate broker with eXp Realty out of New York City and the metro area. Founded PlugIntro so that people in the real estate community can meet who they should know, they can be local famous, and they can gain more and better referral partners, which is really all we want. I have Jason Smith, who is a colleague of mine. I know him from another company, and he's doing great in his new location, Florida. We want to hear all about his success and his background and how he serves clients in the market. Good morning, Jason.
Morning, how you doing?
Really happy to be here. Yes, sir. So give us some background about you and your big moves and how it's working out, what you think agents and how you serve clients.
Yeah, so I've been licensed just over 11 years, I guess. So way up from Watertown, New York. Basically go to Canada and come back 20 minutes. Our main market up there was a big military presence at Fort Drum, so a lot of veterans, VA purchases. So a lot of that going on for sure, and relocation as a result, PCSing all over parts of different countries, or part of the country, excuse me. And then, as you said, we worked at Exit together for a while there. I think I was there from 2011 to 2016. And had some success there, and not only in our local market, but at the regional level, I guess, as well, and within Exit. And then I eventually branched off and did my own thing, independent, and again, smaller markets. So basically, I just became a broker, and our brokerage was really a mini team. Basically, just called Jason Smith Real Estate, the Jason Smith team, which quickly became the number one team in our marketplace. We had those accolades from 2016, basically up until we left New York, which would have been just over we're like 15 months now, I think, at this point. COVID happened, like a lot of us, slowed us all down and made us think about what's important, I guess, in life. And it was interesting, because you're from New York as well, so we were totally shut down, not just like running a little bit, like we didn't do anything. And for really probably one of the first times in my life, being out of control, I was calm, and not really sure why. And at the time, my wife and I had actually just bought, we'd owned it for maybe just over a year, but we had bought a foreclosed home and fixed it up, and a ton of property. And I think when COVID onset was, late March, I guess, per se, we had just moved there in February. We'd only been in the house for just 30 days. There wasn't a stitch of grass, so a couple acres of land, a lot of natural rock and things like that. So I come from blue collar background, so running heavy equipment, things like that aren't beneath me by any means. And so my COVID project was to work on the yard and property, basically, and did all kinds of cool hard landscaping, and turned out pretty nice, actually. But through that process, I don't know, I was sitting in the machine, and just one day, just randomly, and it wasn't too far in, it was only really a couple weeks in. Now, mind you, my wife's family's from Florida. Our kids are young. A lot of their cousins are young. We obviously, of course, spent a lot of time down here, and, coming down here, you see the growth and the potential and stuff. And, the joke always was, why are we not selling real estate in Florida compared to our market in New York? We had a lot of success during units with how many units we'd sell, but the price points are much lower. So if we could replicate that here, what would that look like for us? So
For sure.
And then obviously, as I said, it always was kind of a semi joke. It'd get serious, but then it would never really materialize into anything. So as I was saying, I just stopped doing what I was doing. I don't know if it was around lunchtime or whatever it was, but I got on the machine and walked inside, and I think money boots and all, whatever. And just randomly said to my wife, "I'm ready." She's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm ready. Ready for what? I go, "I'm ready to go to Florida." And, of course, she thought I was full of it. And so I think that process took a few weeks to finally convince her, I guess, that I was serious. And, over the course of the next 12 months, because we had a bunch of properties we had to liquidate, and of course, we had a business in operation. And, I think it was probably 12 months from the moment almost 12 months to the day, actually, 11 months, I guess, because we came down here in February, and, that was in March, I think when we actually discussed all that. So basically 11 months later, we were in Florida. So we operate a team here. We rebranded. My wife and I, as my business partner now. At the time when I started Jason Smith Real Estate, she was actually in lending. And I want to say late 2019, her and I partnered up. Of course, it was always Jason Smith Real Estate or just the Jason Smith team. And we actually rebranded ourselves coming down here. Obviously, last name being Smith, we called ourselves the Realty Smiths team. So we rebranded to that, and now we are part of Real Brokerage. So it's the Realty Smiths team with Real Brokerage. And yeah, no, I mean, we kind of hit the ground running down here, and implement a lot of the things that we've done in our New York market for sure down here, and very different. We came in, when I started real estate, I think the average days in the market was 120 days. It was just after the first crash, or the last crash, excuse me. And a lot of foreclosures, just pretty tough time to try to sell real estate, at least in our market anyways. And then to come down here, if it sat on longer than a day, it was too long, right? So
what part, I don't think you told me, what part of Florida are you?
Oh yeah, sorry. So we live in the Bradenton area, so Sarasota, so South Florida on the West Coast, Gulf Coast side. We're about 20 minutes from the beach.
Beautiful place.
Yeah, very beautiful down here. So just I think wasn't the last time, but the night before, I took the boys and just went for a ride. We went to Anna Maria Island and were able to watch the sunset, on the Gulf Coast. So, I mean, pretty awful.
I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's very nice down here. So I mean, but yeah, I think I was saying, we rebranded ourselves and came down here, and it's basically just her and I at this point, and some support staff, and it's been good. We've enjoyed it. Certainly have came with challenges for sure, moving your entire family and making any of those kind of changes. But yeah, I think we're on the other side of that for sure.
That's great. Well, there's so much of that. All you see is the migration from the New England or the New York State, and then for the lower taxes and the, better lifestyle of having dinner outside the winter versus, I know I've been in New York for 50 plus years, and I always love Florida to visit. I actually lived there during COVID. When COVID happened in January, I was there for 5 months.
Right.
And it said, wait a minute, I did my work from New York. I mean, my children were only 10 years old, so they were remote. I mean, it was great, but we still were locked in because they were remote and I was remote. So it was none of the Florida stuff was available till after school or after work. So, but really, you can see why people of any kind of advanced age need to be in a warm weather climate.
Oh yeah.
And there's maybe you want to tell us, what about the tax structure, real estate taxes and income taxes? What happens there versus New York?
Well, there's no state income tax in Florida versus New York. And then property taxes in general are significantly lower. So, I mean, just I guess put this in perspective, again. So, I mean, I think the average sale price down here, median sale price down here is about $5.25. So taxes on that are say $5,000 a year. That same house in New York, and it's probably a lot higher in your marketplace, but in our marketplace would be, $15,000 probably.
And it's even higher here. You can't believe some of the taxes around here.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, just those two things alone. Now, mind you, houses are more expensive, and there's some other costs that are higher. But there's a lot of other things that you can't put prices onto, I think. And, one thing it's challenging to understand until you've been removed from it long enough is, we were saying before we started live here was, a month ago, it's still snowing where I'm from, and, spring it kind of dwindles on, and then all of a sudden it goes from winter, and then it skips spring and it goes right to summer. And then winters are very long, and it's just very challenging to keep a positive mood sometimes in those situations. And, just coming down here and just the sun shining every day. And it's, in the summer, it certainly rains often. You get the hurricane season and stuff. You certainly have that to contend with. But, just a sense of vibrancy and stuff, the fact that the sun's shining every day, and if you wanted to go walk to a beach or do whatever, you know what I mean? There's just a lot more opportunity, not just from a economic perspective, but just, your environment, I guess. So
sure, that's the reason to move. So, I mean, what about your specific market? I mean, are you seeing still multiple offers, price reductions? I mean, how's
Yeah,
it
we're
happening?
seeing inventory's gone up quite a bit, and we're starting to see a lot of price reductions. Obviously the rates have gone up, which has had an impact, but it's and you've been doing this long enough yourself where that rate still isn't that bad a rate, or it's normal now, really, and a colleague of mine had related it to, it's like going to Dick's Sporting Goods and buying pair of shoes or something. It was 2 for 1, let's just say, 3-4 months ago. And it's, you didn't need any shoes at that point in time. It's been 2 for 1, been 2 for 1. And all of a sudden you go to Dick's and your shoes are about spent, and it's full price, full retail now, normal, right?
Hmm.
And then it's like, oh shit, I wish I would have bought those shoes. And maybe you'll go a little longer, and all of a sudden the soles bust out of them. Well, guess what? You're going to go off and buy those pair of shoes. So the normalcy just hasn't, it's the new norm hasn't set in for people yet, I think. And unfortunately, and this is something that I think I posted about the other day, and I think it was kind of I think I called it a braggadocious post, I guess. And, when I started real estate, I had no idea really, what any of it meant at the time, because it was new, it was green. But I mean, 120 days on market. I mean, you had to hustle to figure out how to sell a house. You had to get creative. You had to do a lot of things. And, I'm a basketball guy, so I relate it to, we're playing on a 10-foot rim. Last couple of years, guys have been playing on an 8-foot rim.
Definitely.
And it's going to get moved up, and it's starting to get moved up, and hopefully you can jump.
Well, I mean, I always thought there was a relation between if you really think about it, it's kind of a fairness thing where the prices were artificially high and the rates were artificially low. And so really bring it back to the mean. And I find it surprising what you said. I mean, why is there more inventory now? I mean, what were stopping those people from looking to sell their house before?
Well, I think the inventory's gone up just because things aren't selling as fast either. So I mean, some things are just jumbling up. But the other thing, again, we haven't been here that long, but the seasons actually aren't any different here than they are anywhere, for that matter. I don't think. You'd think it'd just be busy all the time, all year round down here, and you certainly have our snowbirds in the winter months. But most of those people are looky-loos. They're not ready to buy right today. Not to say that they're not all, but I mean, just no different than any market in the spring season.
Well, I mean, there has to be a seasonal market because school is the big thing. You got to be in.
Yeah, and it's no different down here from what I'm seeing so far. But no, I mean, inventory's gone up. I mean, it's honestly a great thing for me. That was probably one of the most frustrating things coming down. I mean, we were contending with 40, 50 offers. We've won some of them. And tons of cash buyers. I think historically it's about 35, 38% cash down here. I think that'll dry up a little bit, which is good. So it's hard to compete with some of that. So it's just challenging to be a buyer's agent.
So what do you tell to the buyers? I mean, you say that they're making 5, 10 offers easily. I mean, these people, where are they living when they're making these offers, and what can you tell someone?
Well, I got a client now and that's the challenging piece. As a result, the rental market's gone crazy too. So, I mean, you can barely get into, I mean, if a run-of-the-mill 3.2 bet house, you're probably just under $3,000 a month to get into something. And most people that are local that have not migrated to the area, or they're working retail, or working a blue collar trade or whatever, that's $20 an hour or whatever. I mean, they can't afford that really, right? So what happened, obviously, the rates, all of a sudden, they went from affording a $250,000 house that they could buy, and certainly been cheaper than renting. Now they're priced out of the market. So it went from not finding an inventory for these people to buy, and most likely the loan program that they needed was not acceptable. If you weren't cash or conventional down here, I mean, you just weren't going to win. And this gentleman's USDA. So for one, you got to find a house that even qualifies, and it's certainly not going to be right in the proximate area. And then, you went from not finding something to finding things. And then all of a sudden he went from being able to afford $300,000 to, 225 or something, like overnight. Right. So, it's just, so it's been a lot of psychology sessions with, they get frustrated and understand, So, and you're writing, like you say, 4 or 5 offers for people before you're winning. That's if you can even find anything for them. So that's been tough. So, I mean, this is all, I'm loving seeing the fact that things are leveling off, because it's just a fictitious economy the way it's been. So.
Right. I mean, I was looking in Palm Beach County where I spent some time, and things are 40, 45%. The place I rented was 3,000. Now they want, over 40, 4,200. I mean, it's in like that. And I understand supply and demand very, very well, but it really has a negative impact. I mean, you only have a select few people that can do that.
Yeah, and honestly, most of our buyers are all migrating in from somewhere else. Either they're retiring, or there's, early on there was obviously a massive migration from your area. Not only ours, but down by the city in Jersey and Pennsylvania, and we were getting a lot of people like out of Minneapolis. Not to get politics involved, but that had a huge factor on things.
Yeah.
Any of those states, there's a lot of migration from them. And some from California, some from Texas, because they're infrastructure issues with power grids and stuff. They had some issues there. So that was a piece. I mean, tons of migration, and a lot of them are, remote, the opportunity to work remote. So they're somewhere where, the regulations aren't as strict, I guess, from a political perspective, whatever. And, no income tax and a lot of other things that are better too. And
it was really a perfect storm.
Right. Yeah.
It was everything, where we got, politically, everyone couldn't take it, the lockdowns, almost the attitude, even New York City. I mean, I've experienced and witnessed crime recently.
Oh, yeah.
So people say, you know what? And I was in Jupiter, Abacoa area, where I'll tell you what, I mean, little kids could walk around. I didn't have to have my eye on them every single second. It was a community, and it seemed really, everything in my area was new. So it was a little bit of that Disney fake concrete on the walls. It wasn't like, New York City that's been there since forever. So it was really it seems like it was a planned area designed for restaurants and recreation. It seemed it was designed to be more livable.
Yeah, like, so where we live, it's we're a bit further north of Bradenton, really. So, like, you can get across the Skyway Bridge to be to St. Pete pretty fast, in 25 minutes, really. And so there's an area, 2 townships between, it's called Parish and Palmetto. So they're just basically just south of Tampa Bay, and there's, I want to say, 63,000 approved site developments. So just massive amounts of housing going in, and
63 development, 63,000
houses.
Holy wow!
Yeah,
63,000.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. So just all farmland not long ago, and like Lakewood Ranch is, like, I think #1 neighborhood destination, I think, in the country right now. Sarasota market, I think it's #2 market in the country right now. So, like, this area, they call it like North River Ranch. It will be the next Lakewood Ranch, really. There's putting hospitals in, and there's certain things that aren't here yet, but it'll be the next upcoming place. And again, the urban worker, if you live in St. Pete or whatever, you can go across the Skyway and buy in a new community and work remote, or maybe you're only working 3-4 days a week because a lot of things never really went back to normal with COVID, and then probably some of them won't ever. It showed a lot of people. I'm sure you guys have seen it in your market in the city and whatnot, where these massive office complexes and skyrises and stuff like that. I mean, what do you even need them for anymore?
They're still about 50% vacant.
Yeah. So it's just changed, and some of it'll just never go back to normal. Like doing like Zoom calls and stuff. Like, people realized how easy it was to do that versus actually have to meet with people and stuff, and it became a QR code. Think about that. Like, those things were like, why would you use a QR code? Now you go to a restaurant. Now you go to a restaurant. You don't even give you a menu. They give you a thing in the centerpiece, and you gotta load it up yourself. So it's just all these little things have changed, and they'll never go back. And, if you didn't adapt, you're going to be in
Yeah,
trouble.
I mean, there's so many things. I parked. I mean, I want to ask you to guess what I paid for parking in Manhattan not too long ago. Just guess for a day.
$50, $60.
78.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have those type of things plus the tank of gas versus a Zoom call and being so much freer. I mean, I'm raising children and like you,
Yeah.
so it's not even responsible to spend $70 on parking when you could buy days of groceries for them.
Right. If you can even find the parking spot.
Oh yeah,
How much time did you spend trying to find the damn thing?
well, I'll tell you what you really want to know what happened is because it's Midtown Manhattan, they say,
Right.
oh, full, full, full. You gotta, because I'm an old school, I know this world, but a tourist would never, yo, come here. Here's $20. There's no way to get in unless you tip.
Yeah.
I mean, how come $20 makes a spot open up?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, when these tourists come and I see them kind of getting hustled in Times Square, I say, hey, listen, don't deal with those guys. But and that's why I got so pro Florida myself, because part of the lifestyle is my friends who move there are happy.
Yeah.
They're here for a pleasant experience, and it's a better mood. Now, again, we're not talking about the regular. We're talking about, because we serve this industry, we are client focused. You must take care of what the client needs. They need suitable housing. They need a community for their raise kids in, or even just to improve their financial position. You just mentioned two things. I mean, think about it. On a fixed salary, a husband, wife, or just a solo person, they make more money with no state tax and lower real estate tax.
For sure.
That's like a 25% increase in your income.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the the property tax perspective, we have some friends, by us moving, we've inspired quite a bit of people coming down to come down too, actually, and other entrepreneurs and just friends and family as well. And one of which actually they just got an offer on their home in Rochester. So I mean, Rochester's a pretty busy market, and taxes are extremely high there too. And I think they're buying a new construction. It's $425 or something, and they had bought a house. They paid $145 for it, and they're gonna after everything, they're gonna sell it for about $325 in 36 months, and they're gonna come down here and buy a house that's almost $150,000 more, and their payments less because of taxes. So I mean, so now you're able to get in this nice, beautiful home that's new. So it's just it's not even just a tangible thing. It's just you take some of all those hidden costs away, and the things that you can get as a result. It's a quality of life thing. It's a vibrancy thing. And geez, I got a brand new house that's got a pool, and I had half a shack in New York, and I got to heat the damn thing and whatever else, and the taxes or whatever they are. So there's just a lot of different layers to it versus just there's 4 or 5 layers to everything really. And you would just never know until you spend enough time down here. But we definitely enjoy it, and hindsight's 2020. But
sure, I know you were big in billboards. One of the things I read about you is the billboard thing. Are you doing that in Florida now?
Yeah, we have. We came down with a bang, and we came down with kind of a branded message, and it was more of and we didn't have a strong call to action like we've always done the guaranteed sale program and stuff in New York. I'm sure you've seen some of other colleagues I know in your marketplace. Probably Rob Sells, New Jersey. You've probably seen a lot of his. So
I have.
Yeah.
Would you believe I saw that over the weekend? I drove to Maryland. I saw that in a big way, about 5 times.
Yeah. Yeah, I was part of the same marketing agency he was, and but yeah, we did quite a bit of that in our market in New York, and had a huge return from that for sure. And then we came down here, and we offered a similar program, but it was more of like, hey, we're here, like, hey, we actually branded it as Hey Neighbors, and the boards say Hey Neighbor, and then it talks about the program, but more of just with her and I, my wife and I on the boards, and more of hey, welcome, we're in your marketplace now. So a little bit different message. I would say in your larger metro areas, like anything, the more people, the more things are spread out, the more things, the more boards you'd need. So probably not as effective as they would be, or they have been in our marketplace in New York. But I've always been big on that, and just big on branding in general and creating an identity. And I think that's something that I've always prided myself on versus buying lots of leads and things like that. Now it's kind of changed now, but we certainly have done that down here because it's all stuff that you got to do. But back when I started, when I didn't have any money, you had to hustle. You had to do a lot of different things. And I figured that out pretty fast, I think.
How about working with referral partners, some of your real estate colleagues or locals? Tell me, how much have you gotten and benefited them?
Yeah, quite a bit. It's never really a strong thing. We certainly would have referral stuff from other military base locations. So like, again, in New York, so because large Army base. So anybody PCSing, which if anybody doesn't know what PCSing means, basically it means soldiers relocating from base to base. We get a lot of referral business from other duty stations, I guess. And then now that we're down here, we get a ton more because everybody wants to come to Florida, right? So there's quite a bit. And then, we're not far from Tampa and not far from Fort Myers. You can go either way an hour, basically be each of those markets. So, they're all very hot destinations. The other piece is no matter what happens to the economy, you're always going to have tourism down here. So you're always going to have beaches. You're always going to have sun and lots of
attractions.
Things. So, the referral business has been pretty good for us, not only from our New York colleagues, but really anywhere part of the country. So
how about, I know you refer business to, let's say, your lenders and your title and your home insurance people, your home inspectors. What happens? And I want to let you know and your viewers to know how PlugIntro facilitates that. But I know you're giving. Are you experiencing anything in between everyone and yourself, and any cross referrals or introductions?
Yeah, there certainly is. This whole business is about relationships, right? So there's certainly value to that, and people want to work with people they like.
Sure,
that's it, really. And obviously got to be able to do a good job and whatnot. But at the end of the day, if I don't like it, it doesn't matter how good a job you do. So so there's certainly a few select people that we work with and have good relationships with, and it certainly goes both ways. And it's that's something I figured out really early in my business. I hate to say it this way, but it's the pyramid of the sale, really. And it does start with us, but it takes a whole team, and a lot of people don't understand that their team does also consist of the title companies and the inspectors and the lenders and so on and so forth. And I hear often that I'll just ask somebody, geez, who you're working with consistently, whatever. And a lot of people don't have an answer for that because they don't. And I think that's a mistake. So
I think a client needs to pick, someone who's, like you say, the top of the pyramid. We're first with the client. So that's why we had this. I just had a personal experience. I have a set of beliefs. That's why I created PlugIntro for me. I didn't have enough people to meet. I didn't have enough value to offer them, because the value usually is when you're in a transaction and how do you differentiate yourself from your competition. Yep. I created that because I wanted to meet many, many, many people, allow my contacts and colleagues to do the same. But I just had a situation where, I tell you what, if I didn't have some of the assets that I've gained over time with reciprocal relations, where I tell sellers always to get an appraisal, because they are always going to be better appraisers at watching the market. I don't really even care what realtors say. They're doing so many things. They're not watching the market constantly. They're not creating appraisals on a daily basis. So so we spent the money, had the appraiser. We were getting no bites in a New York City market. So people are losing their minds. They're watching TV and they're saying, how come our house is sitting in the market? So we got on the phone with the appraiser and he said, look, I'm going to give you a doomsday scenario. There's no question, lower the price because it's bad. It's going to get worse. And we followed. I swear to you, 2 days later, we have an accepted offer. It was just that price point. And we did everything from offering to pay buyers closing costs. Nothing worked. They just want to see the lower price tag. And without that appraiser, who knows if the seller would have listened to me or any agent. I don't care who you are. So you have a professional, who's a third party, came in with empirical data and said, you got to move in this direction now.
Yeah, it's just objective data, and you got to be able to lean on that sometimes. And, I'm a high D personality, so I'm not really a big data guy. It's just kind of say and do and execute, I guess. But some people need that data to communicate and articulate. My wife is that way. Like if I said to my wife, "Hey, you need to lower the price 10 grand," she'd be like, "Well, show me the numbers. Why?"
And clients
Yeah,
need that
right.
some. And I know you're a high D, and I get that. But the fact is, it's nice to have the individual on your team who can be the bad guy and
Yeah,
say,
for sure. Yeah,
here's the data. There's no
something to lean on.
lying.
Right. I
So,
agree.
and that's only possible if you really care to create relations. And I gave this guy this referral, so of course he's going to be answerable to me and my client. Now, I mean, think about it. If you can't convey as a broker to the seller why it's good to have that resource, why it's good to initially spend the money on an appraisal or maybe even an inspection, and so you have some material to counter a buyer's lowball offer,
Right.
and I've been doing that, and I find that it's powerful. So, what PlugIntro does for agents is allows you folks and me too to have our message heard like you're doing now. We'll share the content with our chosen audience, and then we offer others the chance to promote their business. And I say, so they love you, and it really creates a reciprocal reciprocity thing. So you're really cultivating that opportunity to work closely together. It's powerful.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Yeah, no, I mean, relationships and just, obviously you reached out to me about a couple of posts I made and, and obviously, stimulated this conversation. I think we talked about it quite a while ago. I think it might've been when I came to Florida originally, but, you just said, hey, that post should be on video or whatever. It's all about, one thing we used to do with our radio ads and stuff, we used to tell real life testimonials. And the better the story, the better the response. And you can't tell a story. Well, I should say this because you read a book, you can read a story, right? I guess. But, I always used to say this, from a listing houses and marketing perspective, like we've always done video. We did video long before many other people did in our marketplace. And, so it's like the theory of, picture tells us, was it 1,000 words or something like that. A video would say 1,000,000 or whatever it is, so it's just, you can put a lot of other things in context when it's either it's a Q&A situation, or you can see my mannerisms or whatever it may be. There's just, video is for sure a better tool than just putting things in text. So I agree wholeheartedly with that. So most people just are afraid to start doing something, and
Most people are, and I think that we've lived with Facebook for this 10 plus years now, or even more. But most, and I got it hit my head the other day. I go, wait a minute, are you telling me an entire, maybe the biggest industry in America, between realtors and lenders and everyone else in the industry, is using a free social networking site to propel their business? If you think about it, people have just knee-jerk reflexively put posts of, and I'm telling you, some of the information is really good. Some of the information is extremely insightful. Now, what if I'm working? What if I'm on the weekends with my kids? What if I'm, doing anything, sleeping, different time zones?
Yeah.
I thought it's ridiculous that a post with so much information and value, it's 2 inches, your competition sees it. And the worst part about it is you're not sending it to anyone. So I've been asking people, who do you want to see this? They, of course, want the people that PlugIntro designs, clients, friends, local business owners, industry people, but they're ignoring their own contacts. You've heard of sphere of influence.
Yeah.
Well, I say influence your sphere. Let them know more about you.
Yeah, and
Powerful.
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's targeted marketing, really, right? So, I think it's interesting you say that, and many of us are target marketing our marketing efforts in terms of trying to promote a house or the reason why you should hire me. But there's a lot of other things that I think the messages could be put out there in different ways, for sure. So, I think, obviously Instagram and TikTok are, especially TikTok, it's still kind of an untapped tool, really, a resource. It's funny, I used to be the young guy, and I think Facebook was really just finally kind of becoming prominent when I started in real estate, and I leveraged the crap out of Facebook to build my business. And now I'm the old guy, and I'm not on TikTok. The other guys are. It's funny. And I should.
Jason, I used to be I was the youngest guy at closings.
Yeah.
I was the youngest guy at closing years ago. I'm telling you, I used to be, and I see these what I thought were geezers then were my age now.
Yeah,
it changes. Look great in the beard.
Yeah, it's just evolution,
That's so okay. If it's evolution, we got to get there. So this is great value. We're here for the year. We PlugIntro will create this platform for you. I think your viewers and your audience and those that participate with you, the people that I think you're aware that we will have others that want to be the exclusive provider of their services and support you, that want to lock out their competition, they'll have that opportunity.
Yeah. Agreed.
So what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so best way is find us on social media at Realty Smith's team. It's funny I started with that versus phone numbers and emails. You can go to our website, realtysmiths.com.
Yeah.
You also can go to letsmovetosouthflorida.com. And if you wanted to shoot me an email, you can shoot me an email at jason@realtysmiths.com.